All right, guys, we all know managing a small business is no walk in the park. There are a lot of different concerns to address, issues to figure out, and people to manage. As you can imagine, once you add additional staff members to the mix, the problems and issues get even more complex. Now, how do we manage to change, to the environment and the policies? This is something I don't advise that you do alone. How you do that, what policies you change, you really need the help of a great HR consultant to help you weed through all the mess and clean up and clear up all the systems so you can ensure that both you and your employees are happy. You have a happy owner, happy staff, you're going to have happy customers. Right, so that's why I invited Nini Obiaga to join me for today's podcast. See, Nini founded Neoterik HR Solutions. She has a background in project management and HR management, including 17 years of experience in human resource. So it goes without saying that she really understands the inner workings of people and operations. I love her approach to her job, which is to remove the bureaucratic barriers and really focus on developing solutions for her clients that are effective, customizable, and cost-effective. So Nini, thank you so much for accepting my invitation for you to join us today.
It is a pleasure to be here, and thank you for that introduction. Thank you so much.
You're very, very welcome. And I wanted to start by asking you about something that you shared. You have shared this quote before. Build the right systems and structure for your most valuable asset, the people, and watch people and the business thrive for years to come. So tell me a bit about what that quote and what inspired it.
Well, I've seen organizations treat their employees really well, and how they give the employees so willingly give back to the organizations or to the company. And it almost seems like everything just seems to be working without any effort. And so when you put those systems, when you put those that structure in place that helps people grow, you almost just have to sit back and watch as people just flow with it. So that's where that comes from. It's seeing that over the years that I've worked in HR, and I've seen the opposite side too, where you don't give them the tools, you don't give them the leeway to actually just do things for the company. And so that's where that comes from, really.
Yes, I love what you said about the flow. I know that feeling when you're in a work environment that has that flow, that culture, that unity. It makes a big difference when you've got a good system in place and the people are appreciated. So tell me about Neoterik. When did you start your own company and what inspired you to branch out on your own?
Sure. Well, I've been working in corporate, and I started to see that small and medium-sized businesses, they don't typically have HR. And a lot of times they feel, well, hiring an HR consultant means a lot of money and a lot of investment and things like that. But it doesn't have to be that way. And having worked in a large corporation and seeing how things could be done more efficiently and more simply was the motivation for me. So I started Neoterik about 4 years ago, and I started out just by working with a startup, free of charge, and I found out, I really like doing this. I really like it when I put in something new, and it actually just helps the business owner focus on what they really need to do, and not just have to, I have to deal with this staff issue, I have to deal with this or that. No, and I just love simplicity and efficiency. So it's possible. You don't have to have an HR department if you're a small or medium-sized business. You just need to have the right systems in place. And like I said, watch it flow.
Yes, I absolutely love that. I love the feeling when you're helping a client and it clicks for them and you get that sensation that you are actually helping them and making a difference in their business.
Absolutely.
That is a great experience when you can do that, and it's using your passion, what you're passionate about as well. So
yeah,
I'm so glad you were able to find that for yourself.
Thank you.
So I take it that you provide outsourced HR services that are not actually part of an internal team at a business. So how does that work? What's the difference between an internal HR department and having, HR services outsourced?
Well, Actually, the way I would provide that is, and the way I want to answer this question is that I could work with a team that has an HR person there who may not have all of the experience they need, but need,
Mm.
but that personal persons need that guidance, that that help with just doing things properly. And
Yeah.
then I've mentored someone in the company and they've just grown into it, and I didn't have to stay there. So that's one way I do it. But yes, I'm not a part of the internal team, but HR, by definition, makes you a part of the internal team in a sense. So, I get to understand, what goes on in the company, but I'm also that objective team member from the outside in. And so that really helps not to get involved in any politics that might be there or to, get into any biases. It really just helps me to be able to just look at things from the outside in and also coach the leaders, coach the business owners from a different standpoint, and give them a different perspective. So that's the way I work with companies. I could work with a company that has HR or not, but generally because small businesses don't, I'm the HR person, but I work differently than an internal team. And to add to that really quickly, I mean the cost benefits for that are enormous because um, it cuts costs for businesses when you have someone who works, just as they need different things in their different stages of growth. So that's how I work with them.
Okay, that's true. So with the way you would offer your services, then it's not like, okay, this is what I do, this is the package, take all of it or lose it.
No.
You kind of meet them where they are. You give them what they need when they need it, and that's what they pay for.
Absolutely. That's how I've designed my packages, just so that if you're at this stage of growth, then this is what would work for you. And we come together, we have a discovery, and we find out where you're at and where you want to go, and the steps you need to take to get there. So
Okay.
a small company of five, I work differently than a company of 30.
Yes. Okay. All right. That makes a lot of sense. And I can see how, yeah, it is beneficial not only because your clients are getting exactly what they need,
Yeah.
they're paying for what they need and not paying for a bunch of stuff that they don't need at the time. So that's awesome.
Yes.
And now, how does a business owner know when it's time to invest in some HR help? So what are the different warning signals that we can look for to let us know, okay, I shouldn't be handling this on my own anymore. I need somebody to come help me.
Well, there are different signs, and again, I think one of the ways I would approach that is that if you are growing and or if you expect to grow, right? Um, I would call that a warning sign, but I'll say that's a tell that you need HR, and you need HR because what I do or what my company will do is to help you put in systems in place so that when you're doing things like recruitment or even terminations, you're consistent. Right? When you start to hire people, you get all kinds of different people from different backgrounds and things, but you need consistency to be able to run your company. Not everyone's the same, right? But if you have standards, if you have procedures that everybody can work with, then that makes it so much easier. Now, again, if you already have an organization of say 10 to 20 employees and you've never had HR, the telltale signs or the warning signs that you do need HR is that you're pretty much doing stuff you don't like to do. Because I think 90% of business owners I speak to do not like to do HR stuff. So
Yeah.
if you're answering all the employee questions, if everything comes to you, then you actually need to start to delegate those kinds of
Yeah.
tasks. So that's a telltale sign.
Okay, that's awesome. Okay, so that gives people a sense of what to look for. And I can imagine, so you mentioned policies and procedures. And so I have been in work environments that didn't have like a company manual to let us know different rules. Is that kind of something you help with as well?
Oh, absolutely. And that's one of the most important things, especially with a company that's just beginning to grow, is to at least have an employee handbook. And that's just your
Oh,
summary of policies, summary of,
yeah.
excuse me, this is how we do this, this is how we do that. That's basically what it is. So it's not
Yes.
a rule book, right, so to speak. So it helps people to understand the culture of the company. That's how you define your culture, especially if it's not defined. If you already know what your
Oh,
company's about,
that's a good way to look.
yeah. If you know what your company's vision and mission is about, and that's great. But how do you communicate it to your staff? How do they know to behave a certain way that aligns with your values? How do they know that? So that's where you start. Yes.
Okay, yeah, I like that. I like that perspective because usually when I think of the staff manual, staff policies, it's like here's what you're not supposed to do, but reframing it and presenting it as a way as here, understand our culture, get to know
There you
us,
go.
it makes it a little bit more positive.
Yes.
So, so what are some of the common mistakes that organizations make that HR teams can help fix?
Wow. Um, there are a lot, but okay. But let's see. Well, let me start with just the beginning of the journey for the employee is yes, recruitment and onboarding. One of the mistakes that companies make is that they take for granted that recruitment is just talking to people and interviewing them, bringing them into the company, and things like that. And to some extent, you might be right, but in speaking with a lot of clients that I've worked with, the problem is that they haven't defined those processes, whether it's getting the right job description, whether it's advertising the job in the right places, and then onboarding that person properly, telling them about who you are, telling them about what to expect in your company. If you don't communicate those things, it said like 20% of new hires leave within 45 days because their expectations weren't met. So
Yeah.
those are one of that's one of the ways we correct certain things. HR corrects certain things. The other thing would be how do you retain those employees, right? And so it's not about just throwing a bunch of benefits at people, And again, we go back to the whole thing about culture. How are you,
Mhm.
leading your staff as a business owner? How are you, how are you dealing with performance issues? Because there will be performance issues. We're human beings. There will be performance issues. So how do you deal with those? And so those are some of those things that HR is there to at least, steer in the right direction, right? Correct those issues for businesses.
I'm so glad you mentioned culture because lately HR has had a really bad reputation sometimes when it comes to recognizing that some HR teams are really focused on policies and training, but they don't address things like culture and building trust. So what are some things that you do with your clients to address the culture and the team building aspect of it?
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that's a good question. And what I do with clients as well is just getting that feedback. Like if there is, a lack of trust within the company, or if there's, if employees are not, behaving, if you will, in a certain way, the way to do that is get that feedback from the employees. They're the people they are the most important asset there, right? And you need to
Yes.
hear from them. And so that's part of the way to build back that trust is to show them, look, your feedback, your concerns are important to us. And so I coach those business owners to do that, whether it's having a town hall, whether it's having, one-on-ones to tell the staff, look, we're being vulnerable, we got this wrong, and so this is how we want to make it right. So that's one of the ways that I deal with that with clients.
I love that idea of business owners being vulnerable and being transparent with their staff. So, I
Absolutely.
understand there's definitely some things, CEOs and the boards need to keep wrapped up until certain things are put in together. So I get that, but there are other things that, yeah, having showing that vulnerability really helps build a stronger team.
It sure does. I've seen that happen, and I think it's important that owners are not afraid that their employees are going to come back at them. You'd be surprised. Just the way you handle it, just have the right HR coach beside you. That just you will see the change. Yes.
Okay, awesome. All right, so Nini, thank you so much for your time and sharing with us such a great
My
advice on HR.
pleasure.
So please let us know, how can we connect with you further?
All right. Well, my website is neoterichr.com. So neoterikhr.com. Or you can link with me on LinkedIn with at Neoterik or with Nini Obiaga. I love to talk to people over there, as well as all my handles at Neoterik HR on Instagram and Facebook. I'm on those platforms as well. And yeah.
Okay, perfect. And I'll be sure, of course, to link all of those so everybody can access them easily. That is awesome. And I know, real quick, you are based in Canada, but you can help clients in America as well with some, some parts of their business, right?
Absolutely. I like to just do the discovery session, and it's quite in depth once I get into that with you, just to get them to a place where, okay, this is what we need, and this is what we can do, and things like that. And so where I focus on is just helping them start to build the systems and that foundation or structure that they need to keep on growing. So definitely help American clients as well.
Oh yeah, and that, I'm sure that would be helpful for a lot of people to experience and participate in. So good. All right, so a part of me is really excited about the prospect of growing my team and bringing on some staff members in the near future. But then I get really nervous when we start talking about things like this and considering all the different things I think about when I add people into the mix. So I am really glad that you are out there and other people like you that can help us to figure it all out. And I hope for anyone struggling with marketing issues, feel comfortable enough to call me, and I'll help you tackle some of your marketing challenges. So while I can't help you with HR challenges, if you're experiencing marketing issues, I would love to hear about it, and we can do a quick, our own little discovery call and see what's going on. Of course, always, like and subscribe to our channel. Nini, I also wanted to ask too, I totally forgot about this, but I know some of our listeners are interested. So I am a solopreneur. It's just me and my business. Would I need HR help, or should I wait till I, hire some people before calling somebody?
Well, I would say before you hire people, call someone like myself. And really, it's just to give you that guidance on how to start that process. It's better that you call someone first than we come in to help you put out fires.
Yes. Okay, good. I'm sure somebody out there is glad I slipped that question in there.
No, for sure.
So, Nini, again, thank you so much for coming and bringing your knowledge and wisdom to my audience.
Thank you so much, Philippa, for having me. And it's such a delight to just speak with you. And anytime, I'm happy to come back again.
Thanks so much.
All right.